What's up YouTube, Doa here from Zephyr, and today I am able to bring you the first profile from the brand new deck building set of Phantom Revenge. Today is going to be the turn of the most hyped, in my opinion, being the Enneacraft. Now the Enneacraft are a really unique pendulum style deck, and the reason that I say it's a really unique style is that it doesn't actually rely on pendulum summoning at all. As we go through this deck, you'll see that all the scales are all like scale zeros. They don't really add up. But what it does have is it has a very unique ability of flip effects. It has very unique abilities of setting or special summoning all their cards face down. It's just a really kind of cool strategy and a cool style of deck. On top of that as well, it only contains one ultra rare, so it's one of the easiest decks to build from Phantom's Revenge. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. You don't miss out on any more upcoming content. I will try and bring you Hecker Hands and of course the cool tunes, but it might take me a little bit longer to put those together, as everything I'm about to show you here, bar some of like staple cards I've just added, like part of Extravagance, was what I pulled from just 2 boxes of Phantom Revenge, which is really cool. I'll also show you a extra deck, and I'll talk you through like demo side deck options, but honestly, your side deck and your extra deck will really be tailored to you as the player, as to what you want to try and achieve, what you're trying to kind of face at your local environment and everything else in between. So going with the starters of the deck, so we're going to go with the Defco Enneacraft. Now apologies on these ones, I will probably butcher the names more times than not. So Our Zone IA. So each time a monster is flipped face up, these are going to be pretty much the same for all of the Enneacrafts in the Pendulum Zones. You place an EC counter on this card. You can pay 900 life points to reveal 3 Enneacraft cards from the deck. Your opponent randomly picks one for you to add to the hand. Shuffle the rest back into the deck. The monster effect is flip, banish face up one random card from your opponent's hand until the end of the phase. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect that includes an effect that adds a card or cards from the deck to the hand, quick effect, change this face down card to face up defense to add an Enneacraft card from the deck to the hand. So then you get to take away one of the cards that your opponent may have added in that play. All of the other shared effects are the exact same on this one, that you get to reveal this card in the hand to then special summon any monster from your hand in face down defense position. You can't special summon the entire turn you activate this effect except face down defense position, which means why you can't pendulum summon, you can't very easily access link summoning. It's one of the ones where you need to have already got a field presence in order to then be able to start working your way into link monsters or anything else in between. So you kind of lean a little bit more away from your extra decks. You still want to be able to utilize all of your Enneacraft kind of effects to summon themselves, or just summoning any card, which is insane because it means if you wanted to, and I have seen a really cool hybrid online, you could actually play Subterrors, which I thought was really, really fun, because what you would do is you'll reveal something like the Death Control, reveal this in the hand, and then you can special summon down any card, including yourself, but you can special summon down like Subterra Guru, and then if you've got the Subterra Field Spell, you just use the Subterra Field Spell to flip the Guru face up, which means you don't need to use your normal summon or set on that particular monster, which I think is a really cool hybrid. And then we've got 3 of the Etco Enneacraft Tremoria. So again, in the Pendulum Zone, each time a monster is flipped face up, you place an EC counter on this and you pay 900 life points, reveal 3 Enneacraft cards, your opponent randomly picks one, you shuffle the rest into the deck. That's pretty much all the same. The uniqueness comes in their own individual effects when they are flipped face up or when your opponent activates something to do something in response. So the flip effect of this one is you get to negate the effects of one effect monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect that includes an effect that special summons a monster or monsters, quick effect, change this face down to face up, and then obviously you would apply that following flip effect later on. And then on top of that, you get to add an Enneacraft card from the deck to the hand. You reveal this card in the hand, again, special summon from the hand itself or any other monster in face down defense position. And again, completely locked into only special summoning face down for the entire turn. Then we've got 3 of the Proto Enneacraft Yugioh. So again, exact same in the pendulum scale. Each time a card is flipped face up, you place an EC counter on it, pay 900 life points, reveal 3 Enneacrafts, and the best thing about this is you have cards that let you bring your scales back from the field to the hand, or just your Enneacrafts from the field back to the hand. So you could scale this card, use the effect to add, and if your opponent doesn't have a draw, you go, okay, cool, scale another one, do it again, and then put them both back to the hand so that you can use their reveal effects to special summon monsters from the hand, and then keep going and going and going, and that's how you can access some of your bigger guys, which I'll show you in a second. The flip effect is to destroy one monster your opponent controls, and then when your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand, you get a quick effect to change it from face down to face up, and then add an Enneacraft card from the deck to the hand. And again, reveal it in the hand, special summon any monster from your hand in face down defense, but you can't special summon for the entire turn except face down defense position. Then the final of the little ones, we've got the Enneacraft or Canary. So again, exact same in the scale, not even really going to need to go over that one. Its flip effect is shuffle 3 cards from your opponent's grave and or banishment into the deck. When your opponent activates a card or effect in the grave or banishment, quick effect, you change this face down to face up, add an Enneacraft card from the deck to the hand. Now, with the type of build that I've gone for, I've tried to make space for more hand interactions, more breakers in a sense as well, because the one thing that this deck can struggle with is going second. Going second can be a little bit tougher. Most of the effects, when we start to get to the big guys in a second, they're all going to be, or mainly are going to be during your turn, or your best card, and I might as well talk about it now, in the Yourplaymat. And the reason I've only got 2 is because I only own 2. You would definitely be playing this card at free if you can get hold of it. This card went on pre-orders at, I believe the lowest I saw it go for was like £15. Like, you could have got a core for £60. Then it went up to like £20 a copy. And then a core went from £60 to £65, and then some places was like £70. It was crazy. This is your best boss monster for the deck to be defensive. Now, each time a monster is flipped face up, again, place an Enneacraft EC, so Enneacraft counter on this card. At the end of the battle phase, if you have an Enneacraft card in your other pendulum zone, target a monster your opponent controls with less attack than this card and destroy it. Now, very rarely do you want your big guys in the scales. The only time you'll put them in the scales is if you're putting them directly from the deck there to then add them back to the hand, purely because I believe that the lower levels, like your protons and everything else, their effects in the scales are just going to be so much more valuable for you. The flip effect, change all your opponent's monsters to face down defense position. The monsters that were changed by this battle position cannot change their battle position. So if they're flipped face down, it's quite like Quaking Mirror Force. They can't then flip themselves back up no matter when. It's a permanent lockdown, which is really cool. During your turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, quick effect, change this face down card to face up defense position, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. You reveal this card in the hand, especially when a monster from the hand in face down defense positions, where again it has the exact same reveal effect, which is absolutely fine. But the idea is getting this card on the field means if your opponent tries to interact with you during your turn, so if you're looking at stuff like Holly Sue to try and either summon from the deck or take one of your monsters, or if you're looking at Zuna to try and send from deck to the grave, you can then use your Atori Ma to kind of deal with it. And then you do have other cards as you make your plays to then return this back to the hand to then get it back face down. But it's very, very important that it's only during your turn that it has that effect, which is kind of annoying. I'm hoping in the future we're going to get a card. Yes, you can play cards like Soul and Luna and everything else in between. And it also makes you kind of want to consider playing Mimigals. But I quite like the idea of being able to kind of flip. Like, you need more control to like flip your cards during your opponent's turn as and when you want. Yes, these are great if your opponent are activating certain effects, but you kind of want to be able to utilize them, just have like more control. Then for the other big guys, we've got 2 Enneacraft Azia Leon. So again, each time a monster is flipped face up, you place an EC counter on the card. At the end of the battle phase, if you have an Enneacraft in your other pendulum zone, target a monster your opponent controls with less attack than this card and destroy it. Its flip effect is after it is flipped face up, while it is in the monster zone, each time your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, by card effect, they take 900 damage for each card. When your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your card or effect activation, you get to change this face down card to face up the defense position. Return up to 3 cards from the field to the hand. Again, reveal it in the hand, special summon a monster in face down defense position, and you're locked into special summon only face downs. This one I actually really quite like, and I'm highly tempted to play it at free in the space of the third Atori at this exact moment in time. And then we've got 2 of the Arknar Tail. So this one, again, if you have another Enneacraft in your other pendulum zone, target a monster your opponent trusts with a less attack than this card and destroy it. So you just kind of keep an eye on, like, these are all 3Ks, so these are your boss monsters. So anything less than 3K, you can destroy it at the end of the battle phase. After this card was flipped face up, while it is in the monster zone, each time a monster is set to your opponent's graveyard, they take 900 damage. When your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy a card or cards on the field, quick effect, change this face down card to face up defense. Monsters and Enneacraft spells you control cannot be destroyed by card effects for the rest of this turn, which is really important because this also gives you a lot of, you can struggle against breakers. Because you put a lot of stuff face down, you don't really need to worry about Nibiru, but you do need to worry about stuff like Raigeki, Dark Holes, cards like that. Like Evenly Match completely cooks it because it doesn't destroy, it doesn't target, it doesn't do anything that this deck can protect against. But then if you are so worried about Evenly Match running around in the environment you're going to, and there's probably Malices, Lunalights, and maybe even Cristrons, then Lancia wouldn't be a bad shout for you. The final boss monster, which would be one that I might consider cutting down to 1 with the third Atori when I get it, is the Pixia. So again, the exact same. If it has another Enneacraft in your pendulum zone, you can target a monster your opponent controls with less attack than this card and destroy it. After it's flipped face up, while it is in the monster zone, your opponent cannot target cards on the field or graveyard with card effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card or cards you control, quick effect, change it to face up from face down, and then negate the effect. You can banish face down one random card from your opponent's hand. You reveal this card in the hand, again, special summon it. So it can be nice to take one card from your opponent's hand, but I just feel like targeted effects are getting less and less core. So it's something that I wouldn't want to rely on heavily. It'd be something that would be nice to have, and when I want to get to it, because I know my opponent is playing like imperm or targeted effects, I will work my way to it. Other than that, I don't think you need to rely on it heavily. Then moving on to the spells, we've got 3 Enneacraft Reverse. So shuffle any number of Enneacraft monsters from the hand and or face up into the deck or extra deck, and then draw cards equal to the numbers shuffled. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster while this card is in the grave, except during damage step, you banish it to activate one of the following effects. Special summon an Enneacraft monster from the hand in face down defense position. Change your face down defense position, Enneacraft monster you control to face up defense. So this is your best way to interact with your opponent. The issue is you need to be able to get it activated and in the graveyard, which shouldn't be so hard to do. But as you play through this deck, what you'll start to learn to do is it's a very, very control orientated, and I will do like it's probably best to do like a test hand video for this deck rather than a combo video for the deck, because dedicated combo videos will pretty much be, okay, set one, lead to another card, set one, reveal one. Whereas having a ranged hand could actually show you what the deck can do on a more common basis. So I'll do that after this video as well, so you give you a bit more information. So this can be really, really helpful for you, but the idea behind it is you're playing cards like, I'm just going to jump ahead to it now, the Enneacraft. So this is your card that's going to allow you to add back your cards from the field back to the hand without needing to flip up one of your monsters or anything else like that. So what you would do is you'd want to be able to play, if you open up like a reverse, for example, is you'll want to be able to play with your Enneacraft, use their effects, search out, search out, search out. Obviously you do worry about draw and lot birds, so keep that in mind. Then you'd activate the reverse to put back these cards after they've already revealed themselves to get your big guys to the field and you don't want the little guys left in the hand anymore. Put them back into the deck, draw new cards. Those new cards then set up. You've got the reverse in the graveyard set to sort your opponent out, and that can really help you control with your Mori during your opponent's turn. So the Enneacraft is always treated as an Enneacraft card. Once per turn during the end phase, remove all EC counters from the field, and if you do, your opponent takes 900 damage for each. Now, this is not what I want to be pushing for this deck, because this is not what the deck needs to do, but the deck can do some serious burn damage. Now, keeping in mind, this is one of the cards you want to get rid of. If you are facing an Enneacraft card, or an Enneacraft deck, do not let this card stay on the field by the end phase. The reason I say that is they can be very, very defensive, very, very stubborn for you to break through their field, and they will constantly have the ability to keep flipping some cards up. Bear in mind that if they have flipped cards up during their turn and already accumulated some EC counters, they would have burnt you during their end phase. And then when it comes back to you, if you do not get rid of the Enneacraft and their cards are going to be flipping up, which I would be amazed if an Enneacraft player does not flip up at the first chance they get the ability to do so, you will be in trouble. It's also the reason that they have 2 Enneacraft cards left in their scales during the end turn, because during their turn, they're going to be counting on each one. So every time a card flips up, that's 2 EC counters, which is 1800 life point damage during the end phase, which just gets absolutely insane and really can snowball, because straight away they flip 2 cards up. That's 3,600. Keep going and going and going and going. If you flip up 4 of their 5 cards, like, hey, if you flip up all 5 of their cards, that will pretty much be game, which is insane. If you flip up 4 cards, it's just going to make it just as awkward, because if they keep both of their scales of the EC counters, it will lead to an OTK, or like an FTK, I suppose. But remember, do not leave these on there. Try and not leave the try and not let the scale stay on the field either. Like, the EC counters are going to be a big issue, and they're one of the like subsections of this deck. And what I mean by that is you're going to be so worried about the amount of text that an Enneacraft card has, you'll just ask for the bullet points of like, right, what does this card do? Well, I go, okay, well, I flip it, it negates, it does this. But then you're going to start overlooking that what's going to happen to the EC cards, the scales and the Enneacraft, and then when it gets to the end phase, they're going to go, okay, cool, Enneacraft resolves, burn for X amount of life points, and you're going to be like, what? So very, very important. It does remove all the EC counters, but it's so easy to stack counters up on this deck, it's crazy. Then, that was only the first part of this. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. Target any number of Enneacraft Pendulum cards you control, return them to the hand. If an Enneacraft Pendulum monster you control is flipped face up during the main phase, you can choose to either add it back to the hand or return it to the, put it into the Pendulum zone. So again, that's another way of just screwing it into the Pendulum scale if you get rid of the first one and then still accumulate scales. EC counters. Then we've got Enneacraft Release. So place an Enneacraft Pendulum monster directly from the deck into your Pendulum zone, and if it is in your graveyard, it's set the turn it was sent there, you get to banish it to add a face-up Enneacraft monster from the extra deck back to the hand. So if you do manage to destroy their little Enneacrafts, they will be able to recycle them, but then giving access to get to your Enneacraft directly from the deck can be quite useful. It means it can technically play around Draw Not Bird for the first search, and what I mean by that is you would activate Release, put one directly in your scales, activate the effect, reveal 3, add 1, you draw them, they go, okay, that's fine. But remember, they can get cards to go to the field as well, that when you activate card effects in the hand, they can respond. So, pros and cons. Moving on to the generic card. So generic card for the deck is 3 Pot of Extravagance. I'm highly considering putting this down to 2. This really does come down to your extra deck build. Now, it's also going to dictate the remaining card. Well, not all the remaining cards, but some of the remaining cards that I'm going to show you. So the remaining cards I'm going to show you. I've gone with 2 Fallen on the Virtuous and 2 Dogmatic of Punishment. So massive shout out to Shane on this one. So Shane is the one that kind of highlighted Enneacraft. And I was like, you know what? I pulled quite a lot from a box. I'll put them together. And he helped me put a list together. In his list, he was focusing on the Fallen on the Virtuous, which I quite like as a more of a balanced option for going first and second in a comparison to Dogmatic of Punishment. However, on Dogmatic of Punishment, you have a lot more targets, so rather than Fallen on the Virtuous becomes a send to search in the end phase to then destroy 1 card, the punishment can become a draw 1, it can become a search 1, it can become a destroy 1, it can become a even flip 1 face down, which is actually quite important. So punishment gives a little bit more flexibility, and to get access to either your punishment or your Fallen on the Virtuous, I am also playing the 1 Ecclesia. And the reason we're playing the 1 Ecclesia is if I don't want to send Albion from the extra deck, I can actually just send Titaniclad off of the back of the first Fallen on the Virtuous, which would then give me access during my opponent's turn to summon out the Ecclesia. The Ecclesia can then get me access to a punishment or the second Fallen on the Virtuous. So what you want to be doing is you can't summon out the Ecclesia during your turn. So you want to make sure you're not sending Titaniclad off of Fallen on the Virtuous during your turn. You want to send the Albion. But the idea would be that the first one sends the Albion to then get me the second one. The second one during my opponent's turn sends the Titaniclad so that during my opponent's turn in the end phase, I get access to the Ecclesia. The Ecclesia then becomes a bit of a wall that your opponent can't deal with because they can't destroy it. It can't be destroyed by monsters from the extra deck. And then I get the search of the punishment, so I can set the punishment and then follow up more for the grind game. It's not a perfect engine. It's definitely an engine you can adapt, you can take out, you can change. You can put some more breakers if you want to. It really is up to you. Then penultimate cards that I've got here, I've got 3 Destructive Daruma Cannon. This card's just absolutely insane. So you change as many monsters on the field to face down defense, then either player controls a face-up monster, they must send all face-up monsters to the grave. You shouldn't be controlling any face-up monsters at the point of activating this card, but it's just one of the ones that, and Shane made a very valid point on this one, the deck isn't that great at like OTKing. They're not through monsters in general. So what I mean by that is if I play Book of Eclipse, I get to the end phase, the only benefit I'm going to have is if I've been able to accumulate enough EC counters that when you get to the end phase and they go, cool, I get to draw 5 or however many cards off of the back of Book of Eclipse, you're like, okay, that's fine, but you're going to burn for X, Y, and Z. So it's a bit of pros and cons, bit of give and take, so it really kind of comes down to your preference on that one. I do like that Eclipse can be utilised for going first and second, whereas Cannon needs to be set for that turn, so it's entirely up to you. And then the final 3 cards I've got is the 3 more Chummy Fualos. The idea behind Fualos is it's very kind of dangerous to let your opponent just run rampant if they are a combo deck, but then I do understand that when we move into a format like this deck struggles against Perulia than it will do ever against Fualos or Meowis. So then when you're looking at the other decks, you kind of need to adapt your Fualos kind of space or your Chummy space for something that's going to be the most effective to the environment you're going to, and then choose the Chummy that's going to be the best one for you. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now to show you the extra deck. For the side deck, what you'd be looking for, and like I've already mentioned, I'd be looking at like direct hand traps for the format. So Draw and Lockbirds, DD Crows, Artifact Lanciers, Ghost Bells. You would adapt it to the environment you're currently in. You could then look at having half breakers and half hand traps or hand interactions. It really is up to you. Into the extra deck. Now, the extra deck, I'm not going to be spending huge amounts of time on it because I'm going to show you 15 different individual cards, and we are playing Pot of Extravagance, so this isn't the exact extra deck, but you would adapt it to what you have. Now, what I mean by that is, with this particular build, because I am playing the Fallen and the Virtuous, I would probably be smart to be playing more than one of these, because if I activate Pot of Extravagance and banish these before I get Fallen and Virtuous, ain't doing nothing. So that is something you do need to keep an eye on. Other options you can look at. Elder Entitiance is pretty much a staple if you are playing something like Dogmatic of Punishment. You could play Ultimate Slayer in your side deck as well. You've got loads of different options. Garura is also another option. But then something that not a lot of people think about is Fossil Warrior. I think could be a cool option. But honestly, if you're going to be building a, if you're playing under Pot of Extravagance, you're probably going to go for like 3 Elder Entity Unts, as many Garuras as possible, multiple Albions if you're playing the Fallen and the Virtuous, and if you're not, you'd play something else. Then for the Link monsters, just generics. You can play any of the Nightmares. I would advise Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Cerberus. You can also play Relinquish Anima because it's a level 1 and some of your level 1 monsters as well. Keeping in mind that if you're trying to access actual Link monsters though, you're going to have to do it either the turn after you've already set a field, because I highly, highly doubt you're going to be able to get 2 monsters on the field without needing to use your Enneacraft plays. Then for other targets to be sent, you've got your Tri-Brigade Arms. This is mainly to be a 3500 monster that can send and then send another card. So it will send a Garura for a draw. Or, of course, you can send the Arms Mouser. And the reason you would send this is if it's sent to the graveyard, you get to target a face-up monster on the field and change it to face-down defense position. So, it can be quite useful. For the XEs, we've got Zeus. More so Typhon than anything else, just because you can just upgrade one of your monsters. Like, if you're in a really bad state and you just have to go, cool, normal summon Typhoon, you have that option for you. You've got the Sky Blaster, and then you've got your Agitator. Again, Ultimate Slayer will make these more consistent, so it's up to you. If you're like, I don't want to play Fallen and the Virtuous, I don't want to play Dogmatic Punishment, or I just don't want to play Fallen and the Virtuous, you go, cool, play Ultimate Slayer, that gives you a really good card for going second, and then all of these increase in options. The Zeus is only going to be useful for you if you start to play some rank 1s, which can be quite useful because you can play the rank 1s that are very, very defensive. I did have some to one side, but I think, there you go. So you got like the Ripple Bird, which could then go up into a Downed Magician, and then you could work your way off of the back of a Assembled Nightingale, a Assembled Robin, and of course a Fuko. Now, again, you're going to be very, very tough to put 2 level 1s on the field during the first turn. So it's something you don't want to lean into as much, but Zeus is an option if you wanted to kind of tailor your extra deck that way. The final cards are the Synchro cards. So again, these just come off the back of your Dogmatic Punishment, but also can come off the back of your Ultimate Slayer as well. So Malong if you want to bounce a card, Packbit if you want to put one into your opponent's spell and trap zone, and then Pegasus as a delayed way that if your opponent does forget and tries to destroy your cards, you have options with Pegasus as well to fight back. Now, some of these cards I personally wouldn't be playing. I would be adapting this, like narrowing it down, and probably just playing a good old range of cards that are going to be effective for me. So if I was to play Ultimate Slayer, I'd probably play like 2 Agitator, maybe 1 Vion. I'd probably play 1 Mouser or 2 Mousers. I'd maybe consider Typhon. We'd be playing this. I would probably play a range of the Nightmare cards, but remember, if I'm playing Extravagance, your chances of banishing a one-of is going to be a lot higher, so you then need to take that into account. And ultimately, what you're going to be trying to narrow this all down to is if you're playing Slayer and you're playing Punishment, which is probably going to be the most effective options for you, that's when you'd go, right, 2 Natis, 2 Garura, nice and easy. I've got 4 fusion options. You'd go with 4 links in total, so Mouser, Ferigi, and then 2 of the Link 5s. Then you'd go for 4 XEs options, so probably 2 Vylon and 2 Agitator. So you kind of do the maths right on that one, because at the moment, what is that? That's 12, right? 4, 8, 12. So then for the final 3, you'd play 3 Synchros of your choosing. So entirely up to you. Or if you are playing the Fallen and the Virtuous option, you'd probably play like 3 Albion to make it easy. Or if you're playing Ecclesia, then keep that in mind. You'd play Ecclesia with an option for that one. So that's it for the entire build. There's a lot of flexibility with the Enneacraft. I think it does give you a couple of different things for you to consider. It is an interesting deck. I love the mechanic behind it. I do think that it's quite fascinating that it's a pendulum deck that doesn't pendulum summon, but I love the fact that the reason that it is a pendulum deck is because the scale effects for mainly your little guys is actually pretty insane. So, yeah. That's it for the entire profile. Let me know what you think of Enneacraft. Do you think this is going to be the biggest threat of all the decks in Phantom Revenge, or do you feel that Cool Tunes or maybe even Heka Hands might cause you more of an issue? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Massive shout out to Shane, as always, for helping me put this one together on that. And also, I'll bring you a test stand video following this video so you have a bit more in-depth understanding of how this deck wants to try and operate and how it tries to work with the current format. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.